Celestial conjunctions, what are they? The formal definition is when two or more objects have the same celestial longitude. So two objects in the sky are in conjunction with each other when they have the same celestial longitude, so the same sky longitude. But the informal definition is when two objects are close together in the sky, because really they have the same celestial longitude just at one time, but you don't want to be out there and wait just for that one time, because when two objects are close together in the sky, they're still interesting. Two or more objects are close together in the sky, they're still interesting to look at. We're going to be using a couple of resources, Stellarium.org, which is a downloadable program and has a web version. WorldwideTelescope.org has a downloadable version and a web version. For both of these, we're going to be using the the downloadable version. So we're going to start with Stellarium, and we're traveling back to 2013. So May 18th at 9 o'clock at night, 2100 hours. And you can see we've got the Jupiter and Venus and Mercury in the north-northwest horizon. So they're a little bit above the horizon. And I mentioned the celestial latitude and longitude. So let's show that. The celestial longitude lines are these lines that kind of go from lower left to upper right. And the celestial latitude lines, the longitude lines are right ascension, and the latitude lines are declination. So as we move ahead in days, so I'm going to move, there's the 20th, 21st, 22nd, it lags a little bit here, but you can see that Mercury and Venus are getting closer together. And it seems to jump ahead 2 days at a time. So on about the 23rd of the month, Mercury and Venus were at the same celestial longitude. You can see that Mercury has moved past Venus a little bit. And I moved ahead 2 more days, and now Mercury has moved past Jupiter. But you can see they're in a really, really close alignment. So if I zoom in here, right now I've got them in a field of view that's pretty typical for a pair of binoculars, about a 7-degree field of view. And I've stepped ahead. Again, it seems to be stepping ahead 2 days at a time. But Jupiter and Venus on about the 27th were in conjunction with each other. But notice that whole time, from the 18th to the 28th, they've all been really, really close together in the sky. So there was never a point when the three of them were in conjunction with each other, meaning all three of them lined up along the same longitude, celestial longitude line. But there was a time when each pair lined up. So to say that the three of them are in conjunction with each other is a little bit misleading. But again, colloquially, informally, we would say Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter were in conjunction the middle to the end of May 2013 at about 9 o'clock at night. So let's zoom out to a time that is closer to the current day. So we're going to go December 16th, and we're going to go earlier in the evening. And we're going to go to the, we'll zoom, oops. So we're in the southwestern sky right now. And you can see that Saturn and Jupiter are really close together in the sky. They are not in strictly speaking in conjunction yet because they're side by side. They are not on the same longitude line. But if we step forward, so notice when I went from the 16th to the 17th, between there, there's a time where the moon would be in conjunction with each of them, but that would actually happen after the setting. So you can see the moon zip by, and the moon will be out of the picture here pretty soon. And let's zoom in some more. And right now I'm zooming in so much that you can actually see the moons of Jupiter. So we're at about a 1 degree field of view. A small telescope might have approximately this field of view. So 1 degree, let's move into about a half a degree. A half a degree, the reason I picked that, that's the size of the full moon. So let's step ahead here. Oops. One problem with this zoomed in field of view, maybe I don't want to be so zoomed in, is that it shifts pretty quickly. So I'll zoom back out again. So it's not going to get out of the field of view. Let's go to about 3 degrees. So the 20th, the 21st. So between the 20th and the 21st, notice Jupiter is on one side of Saturn, and now it's on the other side of Saturn. So the actual conjunction is going to occur for the northern hemisphere, west coast, when the two objects are below the horizon. But if you look here, like I did before, if we zoom in, these two objects are going to be in the same telescope field of view. And if you have a strong enough telescope, you can see, and even a small backyard telescope would allow you to see the 4 largest moons of Jupiter, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. And some of the moons of Saturn. Titan, for sure. Titan is the largest moon of Saturn. And depending on how powerful your telescope is, and by powerful, I really mean how large the objective opening is, the objective mirror, the objective lens. If you have one that is about 4 inches across, so about 10 centimeters across, you would be able to see these moons of Jupiter just fine. And if we step forward even more, so I'm going to zoom out, and if we step forward, you can see that these two are going to be close together in the sky for quite a long time, quite a few days. So let's actually see what happens as we move on here. So Jupiter and Saturn are close together in the sky. But notice what happens the new year. So January 4th, 5 o'clock at night. Mercury enters the picture. So early in 2021, none of the 3 objects are going to be as close together as Jupiter and Saturn would be December 20th of 2020 and December 21st of 2020. But we have a 3rd object joining. So if we go forward here, you can see that between the 8th and the 9th, Mercury and Saturn were in conjunction with each other. And then between the 10th and the 11th, Mercury and Jupiter would be in conjunction with each other. So January 2021, we will have 3 objects close together in the sky. And if we do our zooming in for our typical binocular field of view, about 7 degrees, yeah, we can easily see the 3 objects in our binocular field of view. So let's look at this from a different perspective, from the solar system perspective. So I know the numbers are sort of tiny here, but I have this set for May 17th of 2013 at, although it's not that big of a deal here when we're looking at the whole solar system view, but I did set it to 9 o'clock at night. So we have the X here represents the center of the solar system. Here's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, the red orbit, and then Jupiter and Saturn. So if you remember back in 2013, Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus were closely aligned. So actually I can zoom in some here. So here's the Earth, and notice from the perspective of the Earth, I can almost draw a line that goes through Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. So that is what is meant by the conjunction. So never can I draw a line through all three of them, but there would have been times when we could draw a line through each of the three combinations of pairs of Mercury-Venus, Mercury-Jupiter, and Venus-Jupiter. So again, that's what it means to be in conjunction. And I mean, there are other things in conjunction as well, right? This star right here, whatever this little dim star is that, oops, I'm circling it on my screen, but you see it a different cursor position on your screen. So actually so there is the Earth. That's Mercury, that's Venus, and down at the bottom of the screen, my cursor doesn't correspond to what you can actually see there, but down at the bottom of the screen is Jupiter. But let's step ahead to 2021, or 2020, sorry. So the Earth now is right below my cursor. Let's zoom out a bit. And here's Jupiter. Here is Saturn. So now Jupiter and Saturn are in line with each other and in line with the Earth. Oops, sorry. I picked the wrong, that was Venus. So here's the Earth, because I was wondering what's up with Mercury. So there's Earth, there is Jupiter, there is Saturn, and Mercury is not in line, but notice what happens as I step forward. And I know the day has hidden this, but as I step forward, so look at what's happening to Mercury. So Mercury now is moving to be in line with Jupiter and Saturn. And now if we look, we've got the Earth, we've got Mercury, we've got Jupiter, we've got Saturn. So they are pretty close to being in line with each other. And when they're exactly in line with each other, the three of them will never be exactly in line with each other at any time in January of 2021, but two pairs will be in line with each other. So that is a celestial conjunction. Again, just to review, oh, that's weird. The little pane there is holding out. When two or more objects have the same celestial longitude, and let's just say that, although it's highly unlikely that the or more would work for the formal definition. For the informal definition, yeah, two or more is very reasonable. And these are the two resources. I encourage you to go and use them yourself. You can explore, you can look up conjunctions in the past and in the future and try to find them in Stellarium and Worldwide Telescope. Thank you.